Before we start the undercutting, we need to make sure that all this surface and the shape of this surface is right. So spend some time now with narrow tools, just working this surface over, making sure everything's tapering, that it's all cleanly cut, coming right up to the edge, and try and do something interesting with the edge. Like here, for example, it's turning slightly, and this one's turning slightly. So this is your chance to be have a little bit of flair for these leaves. Then when you've done that, you can think about how this edge is going to be cut in. This will be your edge. We've taken that up to the edge, and now we can think about where we might put that edge. So have a think about that. For example, here, that definitely will need something. We're not undercutting yet, but we've come across what will be the edge. Okay, so we do that first, all over. At the same time, we can look at cleaning up here, these junctions into there. So get rid of the wood in here. We can also cut around here, clean up this acorn as far as we can. We can't go too far around here yet, that's undercutting. This is a bit of a mess, but that will be undercut, so we can clear away some of this in here. Remembering that this acorn is coming round like that. So we can push some of that back. Clean up in these junctions there between the acorns. We can also clean up in here, tidy that up, make sure these acorns are the right shape. Okay, clean up this. So all this surface, everything's modelled. That's what we have to do before we undercut. So make sure everything's clean and tidy, tapering, bit of flair, and then we can undercut. I've drawn pencil lines where I need them. I don't need them everywhere, just where I'm unsure. That now is the edge of the leaf. So what I need to do is set that in, and I would set that in with a tool so that I get the nice sweep, giving me the nice edge. So once I've set part of that in, let me pick another tool and just come around here a moment. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle, let me come back here, I'm going to angle this tool about 30 degrees. That's all we need. We don't need to go right underneath like that. We just need to undercut enough to make the impression. So having set it in, I now come to the edge, and it might be that I need a mallet, and I should go right into that paper. So when I've got that line there, and I'm following it around like with this line here, I can pick another tool, perhaps it's the same tool over there. It's going to come out this way a little bit, so there's the edge, pulling it around like that, and then when I've got that right, I set that right down into the back at an angle. Then these little eyes here, they're best done with a deep gouge. This is a number 10, so it's a little bit U-shaped. Push that back. Like that. So we want to join, what's important is to join this edge all the way along, whatever I do, and the undercutting. So this undercutting here has all got to join together. Now something about these oak leaves are worth saying. They are sort of carver's oak leaves, so they're a little bit different from how we might see them in nature. What you get is this little bit of a flattening going on here. You see, so instead of being like a rounded leaf, this would be more over there like that, straight off here. So I'm going to follow this up one edge. I'm going to work my way around all the way, picking out these holes here, joining them in with this edge. So I've got a nice clean edge that's going to go all the way around like that. So 30 degrees. I would set in first like this, make sure you've got a nice edge, and then right down into the background. And if necessary, you know, you can take you know, a bigger bit, like if you really didn't like this or whatever, you can nibble it back, but that is your final edge, and it should be neat and sharp. That's what we want. Another way of doing it is to undercut a little bit like that, push along. Pretty much as if you're doing a relief carving, except we don't have to worry about the background here. Okay. As I'm carving the stalk, I'm doing exactly what I did with the acorns, and I'm bringing it round the form and underneath like this. So I'm starting to undercut here, and I can use a flatter gouge in there, and that's coming in at an angle. And what might happen is when I cut in from this side, that the two might meet underneath. In fact, it's quite likely we'll have a little bit of a gap, or certainly a very deep shadow. So this is all undercut around here, and this is all clean in here. And then so I've come around here to this side, and now I'm going to go to this side of the stalk. It's a little difficult to show this without my hand getting in the way, but what I'm doing is exactly the same. I'm going round the form here, round like this, till I'm ready to undercut, and then the tool comes under here like this. So I'm now undercutting at the same angle as before, at about 30 degrees. So I'm coming around there like that, and they might or they might not meet, but what we do need is a big shadow. We can also do the same here. This is going to be undercut at this end there, and with the acorn I'm going to coming round again and nibbling this back. As you can see here, it's not always necessary for me to take away this, because once I split the paper, this is glued to the paper, this should just come away. So I could do that, but it's a waste of time really to do that, because it's actually attached to the paper. So when that paper comes away, it'll be gone. So not to worry too much. What we need to make sure is we've gone into the paper and cut the paper, and then we've cut the wood at the edge, and we can take it away. So exactly the same. We're coming round here, joining all those together. I'm happy with the undercutting around this stalk here now. I think that shows up quite well. It hasn't gone through, that's okay, it's well supported. So I'm now left with really just finishing off this rather manky bit in here. For this undercutting, I can come in more sidewards. Notice that there's quite deep undercutting here, like for example that's from the surface of the wood here right back. That's nearly 25 millimeters of space. If you're slightly hollow, that's okay, but you don't have to be rounding like this. So I'm coming in here like this, I'm coming in here like this. Now where I've got a big lump like that, what I can do is take a narrow deep gouge and just nibble some of it back. Then just as before, I'm following this curve around. And there's the undercut in there, see? So the acorn comes around under here, like that. This is going to meet it like that, like that. This is going to be in here. So we'll try and excavate that as best we can. And what we want to do, as I said, is to go right back to the paper there. So this sense of this coming out. And that's it. When this is finished, I've completed all the undercutting all the way around. You can see how the whole thing is now popping from the background, which is get out of this stuff out of here. It's not a good idea to do too much scraping like this, because that is a good way to blunt the tool by scraping like this. So to just really be picking it out more than scraping. Okay, so when that's finished, I'll have gone all the way around and joined everything together